Last month, President Trump signed a new executive order called Reinstating Common Sense School Discipline Policies.
Yeah, it was created to show how schools could handle school discipline. Here to explain more about this order is our race and equity expert, Dr. Rosemarie Allen. To tell us about this, Dr. Allen, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us about what all this entails.
Well, this new order, it rolls back the Biden-Obama policies around disparities in discipline. And what we found back then was that children of color, they were suspended much more than their white peers. We know that black children are the most suspended children in all of America, 4 times or more than their white peers. We know that Hispanic children are only 40% of the enrollment, but 70% of those who are suspended. Indigenous children are about twice as likely to be suspended than their white peers. And what's really amazing about this is their behavior is no more egregious. They're engaging in the same types of behavior, but they're getting suspended for it. So this policy says we're not going to look at race. We're going to have a colorblind policy. And while that's really nice on the surface, we also have to address the disparities in why children of color are suspended more.
Some educators say that they actually support this, saying that it will make schools safer and restore order. Do suspensions work?
They don't. There is no research, none, that supports the use of suspension in changing a child's behavior. And actually, the opposite is true. Children who are suspended are 10 times more likely to enter the juvenile justice system.
Wow.
They're more likely to drop out of school, to have low achievement, and then they disengage from the learning process. So imagine this. A child, our research shows that children are kicked out at about 8 months, starting at 8 months old before they're walking and talking, for biting and crying. 2 years old for tantruming. 3 years old, they might throw a chair. By 4, they might be defiant. That child has now been kicked out or suspended or expelled 4 times. By the time they reach kindergarten, they've disengaged from learning.
So knowing that, what you just said, what are schools supposed to do here? How can they address these discipline problems while maintaining safety for all students, while keeping the focus on learning and education?
Jordan, that's such a great question because that's the goal. That's the goal for everyone. But what we have to understand is that all behavior is communication. There's a message behind the behavior. Suppressing the behavior without getting to the root cause doesn't help. So what we need, and I know that this is just big thinking, we need a mental health specialist at every school.
Can I ask a follow-up there?
Yeah.
Because, of course, one thing we're reporting on is schools being merged into each other. So teachers are having bigger classrooms. How are you? Like you said, you got to watch their behavior and figure out what the message is. Yeah. Teachers are having a hard time keeping up with their students at all anymore.
Absolutely. Some classrooms are 40 children to one teacher. Right. And when the teacher's stress increases, so does suspensions. So teachers also need the support. We're expecting them to address the behaviors and the trauma of children, and they're not getting the support that they need either.
Right.
So suspensions don't work, but if we have mental health professionals in there to help out, that could be beneficial. Is there anything else that would help out?
Reducing those class sizes, having the mental health, working with families and communities, working with the communities and the families and children. Children rarely rebel against rules they set for themselves. Oh. So have them a part of the rule setting and the consequences, because then the consequences, it's a collective. We agreed, this happened, and these are the consequences based on the classroom collectively saying that this is how we restore justice.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, Dr. Allen, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get